Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hang by the fire and chill. Isn't this how it's supposed to be? Making a Christmas memory.
Can y'all believe that Christmas is almost here? I cannot. Let's get Santa some cookies made, y'all. So starting out, we are going to do some chocolate chip cookie bars. Now, I was going to do just a traditional chocolate chip cookie, but when I was kind of digging around, trying to decide what I wanted to do, I found this recipe, and it looked so good that I thought, you know what, I'm going to make these, and I'm going to share these with y'all, and then that way, maybe you could do something a little bit different for your Christmas cookies this year, too. So, we're going to start out by preheating the oven to 350. And we're going to get all our dry ingredients mixed together. And now, of course, I will put everything down in the description box so you'll know exactly how much of everything you're going to need. And we're just going to mix together some all-purpose flour, some baking soda, cornstarch, and salt. And you're just going to take, y'all look at Baby Whisk making a comeback. So you're just going to take your little whisk and just whisk it around, or just take a spoon, whatever you got, and just mix it around in there real good to make sure you get all your dry ingredients all mixed up and incorporated real good together. And then we're going to go ahead and set that over to the side. And in another bowl, we are going to add our melted butter, our brown sugar, and that's a packed brown sugar. And y'all saw that, didn't you? Butter everywhere. I forgot I had measured flour out in there, so my brown sugar wasn't stuck down to the bottom. It just slid right on out of there and just slopped butter all over my counter. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're going to take our butter and our sugars, and we're just going to get them all whisked up together. And then we're going to add our 2 eggs and our vanilla. And we're just going to get that all mixed up real good. Just make sure that you get, your eggs mixed all in there real good and everything. You don't want a big clump of egg anywhere. So once you get everything all mixed together, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our dry ingredients and we're just going to dump the whole thing right over in there. This is not going to be hard to stir. You don't need a hand mixer or a stand mixer or anything for this. Just try not to over mix it. You just want to get all that dry ingredients incorporated. And I know it looks like I am whipping the mess out of this stuff, y'all, but I'm not. I was gentle. It was just in fast forward and high speed, whatever. I'm old, I don't know. So anyway, then you're going to go ahead and take your chocolate chips and you're going to get those dumped in there. Now the recipe called for a total of 2 cups of chocolate chips because you're going to put some in the dough and then some on top. But this is all I had of those chocolate chips. So it's a little less than a cup. So I just went ahead and put that in there. And of course my 8x8 pan still has not made a reappearance. I don't think I'm ever going to see the poor thing again. So I'm going to use this little pan and I'm going to fight this darn wax paper. Y'all know me and wax paper. Goodness gracious. But I won in the end, y'all. My cookie dough just held it down in there. Now feel free to make your wax paper neater if you want to. If I was like some of these famous people, I would cut it and make it all neat, but I'm not. So we're going to do the best we can what we got, y'all. So once you get your dough all down in your pan, these are those little mini chocolate chips I had left over when I was making waffles with the grandbabies in the other video. But I just thought, you know what? I'll just throw a handful of them right there on the top. So that's what I did. And then I popped it in the oven for about 45 minutes. Just watch it and make sure, when you poke a toothpick in, it comes out clean. Once it comes out, you're going to need to let it sit for about an hour, because if you try to do this when it's still hot, it's just going to fall apart on you. So let it cool down for about an hour. And look at this, y'all. Ooh, it's thick and just cakey, and oh my gosh, it's just, I don't even know how to describe it, y'all. It is so darn good, and it's not overly sweet either, and I'm glad of that, because I like sweet, but not too much sweet. So then look at there, y'all. It's so fluffy. No, it's not gooey. Now if you like gooey, by all means don't cook it as long, but I ain't trying to get to salmonella around here, y'all, so I'm cooking my cookie dough. But anywho, so I just went ahead and I cut it into a bunch of little hunks, and it made a ton, y'all. It made a ton. And you know I'm all about a corner piece. Look how pretty that corner is. Look at that. It would be good too, y'all, if you put some pecans or something over in there. But I didn't have any. So the next recipe that we're gonna do, our next cookie, is gonna be Grinch Cookies. Now, I wasn't sure what other kind of cookie I wanted to do, but when I accidentally made those Grinch Rice Krispie treats that time, and then when I came across this one, I thought, y'all, this is gonna be so stinking cute. And look, I don't know what I was trying to do with this darn flour, but I was just winging a prayer, y'all. You know how it is over here, just a wing and a prayer. So we're gonna get started. Just leave your oven preheated to 350, and we're gonna get our flour, our powdered sugar, our baking powder, and our salt all dumped into our bowl. And just go ahead, like in any other recipe, we're going to get all our dry ingredients all incorporated. We're about to whip out baby whisk again here in a minute. But you just want to get them all mixed together so you don't end up, you know, with a little of this and a little of that. You know, like your baking powder, you need it all incorporated so all your cookies will rise up and not just one big clump. I don't know if that's a thing, y'all, but anyway, you know. So just mix it up real good. And I don't know why powdered sugar, to me, it just feels like it likes to clump up a lot. And I guess I could have sifted it, but y'all know I have a sifter, but we ain't that fancy over here, so we just gonna do it like this. So just whisk it around in your bowl and get it all good and mixed up. And then we should have sat a stick of butter out and let it come to room temperature, but I didn't do that, y'all, because I forgot. So look at there, I popped it in the microwave because, you know, and that didn't work because, you know, around here we use cheap butter that's not even butter. I don't use that expensive stuff because I'm not fancy like that. But you know what? It still works. So you just want to take your little butter and you just want to chunk it up and put it over into your dry ingredients. Now you don't necessarily have to, you know, mix it in right here, but I did because I didn't want the butter to get hard again, because I knew it would be easier to mix later if the butter was still, you know, kind of cool, kind of soft. So anywho, in another bowl, we're going to go ahead and crack 2 eggs. And if you have time, let those eggs, you know, kind of be room temperature. Just let them sit out while you're getting stuff together. Now, we're going to go ahead and put our food coloring into our eggs because, and the person who made this recipe did this, and I was like, that is so genius, because you can make sure that your color is right before you add it to your dry ingredients, and it makes it a whole lot easier if you need to add a little bit more food coloring. Makes a lot of sense, y'all. And then, of course, make sure you add your little vanilla in there. Then we're going to go ahead and just pour our green eggs right over into our dry ingredients. Now, y'all, this is the only wet ingredients that this recipe calls for. So, watch. Yep, look at me. Clouds of flour. I dusted the whole house, y'all. But, you know, this is the way that the recipe says do it, and that's the biggest bowl I got, y'all. And I turned it on low. I had my mixer all the way on low, just like they told me to. But I guess, I mean, my mixer is not an expensive mixer, so I guess it doesn't go low enough. But I did the best I could with what I had, so I just mixed it around, and then I thought, oh, Lord, this is a crumbly, bumbly mess, y'all. But as I mixed it, it was kind of mushing together, so I thought, you know, this might actually be dough. So I got in there with my hand, and sure enough, it stuck together just like dough. I just had to get in there and mix it. I just had to give it a little love, y'all. So, okay, now we've got our little dough ready for our cookies. Now, this is the weird part. I thought this was strange, but it works. So this is what we do. You're going to go half and half on powdered sugar and cornstarch. And the original recipe called for a half a cup of each. I only did a third of a cup because I wasn't real sure how much of this I was going to use, and I hated to just throw a whole bunch of stuff away that I didn't use, and a third of a cup of each ended up being plenty. So you're just going to mix those together real good, and then you're going to get out your little cookie scooper, and you're going to roll these into balls that you can't see because apparently I moved out of the camera. But you're just going to roll them into balls, and then you're going to dip these down and coat them real good with that cornstarch and powdered sugar mixture. Now, it's okay if it's a thick coating because that's the way these are supposed to be. So you're just going to, I think the premise, look at me with the big word. I think the whole thing behind the cornstarch and the powdered sugar adds a little bit of sweetness, but the cornstarch is supposed to make it where your cookie doesn't end up spreading out all over the pan. Like, it makes it hold its shape better. And it really worked, y'all. So, hey, kudos to them, whoever figured that out, but it definitely worked. So you're just going to continue to scoop, and this made a lot of cookies, y'all. I don't even remember how many it was, but I ended up having to get a second pan out, and my pan ain't dirty, y'all. That's a, burn mark, so y'all just don't worry about that. But Lord, I had a mess everywhere. I had powdered sugar all over me, the counter, the camera, the tripod, everything was covered in powdered sugar and cornstarch. But that's okay because it cleans up pretty easy. So you're just going to go ahead and get all your little cookies made. And then once you get these all rolled up, you're going to take a, I just use one of my little measuring cups, and you're just going to press these cookies down. Now, you're not going to squish them flat. You're just going to kind of press them until they get into sort of a cookie shape, where they're not necessarily a ball. They look more like a cookie. And I'm going to hold it up in a minute so you can see kind of how flat they actually ended up, because they're not super flat, y'all. They got some substance to them. But I didn't measure them, so I don't know exactly, how tall they are. But you'll be able to see right there. See how they're not smushed down flat? So you're going to pop those in the oven for about 12 minutes until they're just kind of getting brown on the bottom. You don't want them too brown. But you see how they kind of crackled there? Y'all, they look kind of funny, y'all, but honey, these are good. So then you're just going to take your little hearts. We had them left over from the other Grinch things we made, and just put them right there on your cookie. And now we've got little Grinch cookies. But look at the inside of these, y'all. They are soft. They're like little pillows. They just melt in your mouth. And they're not overly sweet or anything like you would think they may be from the powdered sugar. But they're really not. They are delicious, y'all. Next up, we have Snowball Cookies. Now, here are the ingredients you're going to need for this. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 400. And you're going to want to go ahead and melt that butter also. Now, I used pecans, and these were supposed to be chopped pecans. And I guess technically they are. But they still had really big chunks in them. And these are really small cookies, or pretty small cookies. So I went ahead and used my handy dandy food processor right there, and went ahead and got those chopped up a little bit finer. Because, like I said, you don't want a big hunk of pecan in a tiny little cookie. So if you have a little food processor, feel free to use that. But this is what I had, so this is what I used. And look how much better that is. Perfect. So you're going to take 2 1/4 cups of flour in your bowl, and then you're going to add your 3/4 of a cup of whatever chopped nuts you're using, walnuts, pecans, whatever, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I realized as I was mixing this that I actually needed this bowl to mix my other ingredients in. So you're going to see my dry ingredients do a wardrobe change. So in your bowl, you're going to add a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and a teaspoon of vanilla, roughly. We just kind of dump it in there. And then you're also going to add your butter. And then once you get all that added in there, you're going to go ahead, and if you have a stand mixer and you're fancy and you have a KitchenAid, feel free to use that. I have a stand mixer. It is not a KitchenAid, but I actually don't have it at my house right now because somebody borrowed it and I keep forgetting to get it back. So you're going to go ahead and just use your little hand mixer, and mix this up until it's nice and smooth. And then you're going to start little by little adding those dry ingredients in there. And y'all, when I tell you this hand mixer was not a good idea, I had clouds of flour everywhere. I had hunks of cookies slung from one end of my kitchen to another. But that's okay, because you know what? We made these cookies anyway, and I have to do the cleaning. So if I make the mess, I guess I don't mind having to clean it up. So what you're going to do is take these, and I just have a little tablespoon, like measuring spoon, just again, so I can kind of keep them the same size. And I do get a little baby one out here in a minute. It's really cute, y'all. But you put these on your cookie sheet that's lined with parchment paper. And it doesn't matter how close you put these together because they're not like a cookie that's going to rise. They just kind of just get done, but they're not going to rise or anything. So if they're touching or if they're all, all clumped together on your pan, it's not going to make a difference. So you're going to put those in the oven at 400 for about 10 minutes. And you can see that the bottoms are just kind of lightly browned. Then you want to let them cool off just enough to where you can actually handle them, but you don't want them to be cold. You want them to be a little bit warm so that that powdered sugar, look at that baby, y'all see right there. That is so cute. But anyway, you want your powdered sugar to stick. So you can just roll these in your powdered sugar, put them on a wire rack, and that way you don't end up with powdered sugar everywhere, or at least any more places than where it's already going to be. And then you can do a second coating of powdered sugar once they cool down if you want to. I don't feel like they really need it, so I didn't do that. The next thing that we're going to do is no-bake cookies. Now, these are the oatmeal chocolate peanut butter cookies. I'm not sure they have another name other than no-bake cookies. We've been making these, or my mama used to make this when we were kids. So you're going to take a stick of butter, and you're going to put it in a pan, and then you're going to take your 2 cups of sugar, and you're going to add your quarter cup of cocoa powder and half a cup of milk, and you're going to just melt that, heat it up, get it, all good and mixed up and melted. And you're going to stir this around for, once you get it, you want to bring it to a boil. Once you get it to a boil, you're going to let it boil for 1 minute, and then you're going to take it off the heat. Then you're going to add your other ingredients to it. I add the peanut butter first, and that way it just melts down into that hot liquid without kind of clumping around the oatmeal if you add that first. So just add your peanut butter, a cup of peanut butter, and then you're going to add your vanilla, a tablespoon of vanilla, and then you're just going to mix that around really good until you get that peanut butter all melted. And then you're going to add your 3 cups of oatmeal. I'm not sure it makes a difference whether it's quick cook or whatever. It's just oatmeal. So then you're just going to drop these by the spoonful on some wax paper. And that's it, y'all. Easy as that. You can let these just sit up, and they are super delicious. And clearly it makes a ton of them. So this one is an easy one. We're going to preheat your oven to 350, and then these are all the ingredients you're going to need. We're going to mix this up with a pack of cake mix. Now, y'all stop laughing because all I had was that confetti cake mix, and I know that's not Christmassy, and this is a Christmas video, but at the end of all this, I'm going to show you I also made some chocolate chip and some red velvet another time, but, I just wanted to show y'all this so you could see it step by step instead of just looking at pictures. So you're going to add your box of cake mix, 1/3 of a cup of oil, 2 eggs, and then a teaspoon of vanilla. And if you don't have to do sprinkles and stuff, y'all, if you don't want to, but I was trying to look at me. I flung everything on the counter, y'all. I need a maid. Somebody come help me clean my kitchen. So anyway, you get it all mixed up, and then you just scoop it out onto your cookie sheet. And this made 3, 6, 9, 12, about 12. And so you just put them in the oven and you bake them for about 10 to 12 minutes. I think I did go the full 12 on mine.
Now, I should have added sprinkles before this if I was going to add sprinkles, but like I said, these were those little confetti cookies, so I wasn't trying to, I'm not taking these to any family gatherings, you know what I'm saying? So while it's still kind of warm, I decided I'd go ahead and just try to, just put a few sprinkles on there. Well, I would fight the sprinkles because, again, y'all, I'm flinging them all over the kitchen. It's terrible. It's terrible. I have a problem. I need help. But anyway, you just put your little sprinkles on there if you want them. But if you really want sprinkles on them, y'all put them on there before you bake them, and that way they'll stick. These didn't stick. I had sprinkles going everywhere. But you just, once you get your little sprinkles, whatever you're doing, just take them out, put them on your little wire rack, and then just let them cool down. And y'all look at the inside of these things, and they are so dang delicious. It's not cakey, but it's not cookie either. It's a really good mix kind of in between. But they are so good. Really, really good. And they're so simple to make. Now, here's a couple of clips of the ingredients you would need if you wanted to make the other ones that I made that you're going to see a picture of in just a second. And I hope y'all try some of these and let me know how you like them because they were so different to me.
Oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, oh, oh, la da da da, making our Christmas memories.